All right, welcome to this week's episode of Play by Play. I am your host, Andy Horton, alongside my co-host, Jared Bergstrom. And well, Jared, it's a little bit different of a setting than we're used to. We don't go off-site very often, but I guess we've done it a couple times. This is our, I guess, third time technically, because we did it a couple times at UD a couple years ago. But today we're here at Archers Tavern. There is going to be a UD's coaches show here later that our guy and producer Carl is going to be helping out. He's going to be running. So we decided to tag along and do the show here as well. We're going to do our Halloween week next week, but I think we kind of messed up. They already got their decorations up, all their waitresses and even the manager. They're all in costumes. So I think we kind of messed up there. We should have done our costumes this week as well, but we messed up. I think I forgot to mention, this is episode number 123 of Play by Play. So I think we're going to start out with some NBA.
Yeah,
and
we'll
get to football.
So you want to start first? Celtics raising banner 18 last night?
Sure. Maybe in post-production we can put in a couple of pictures of those beautiful rings.
Oh, those I saw the the video on Instagram. Whew.
Absolutely gorgeous, man. And I tell you what, I think the Celtics are on a quest to maybe repeat, and a lot of people, are saying that it's almost like a Mickey Mouse title because
that was the COVID year in Disneyland.
Right, exactly. But a lot of people were kind of trying to say that because a lot of the teams that the Celtics played were injured. Well, they came out last night, and I think it was a good first step towards a repeat.
Yeah.
I think the game was over in the first quarter, 43-24. Right out of the gate, and the Celtics couldn't miss.
Until they tied the NBA record for 3 points in a game.
Yeah, I'll get to that in a minute.
Then all they did was miss the threes.
Yeah, like I said, I'll get to that in a minute. But it was a fantastic night for Celtics fans. Jason Tatum had 37, shot 8 of 11 from 3 and 14 of 18 overall, with 10 assists. He's one of the better distributors on the team. My man, Derek White, came out and showed out, 24 points. He hit 6 threes on his own. And you just talked about it a moment ago, that the Celtics tied the all-time record for most threes made in a game. They did it with 8 minutes and like 8.5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. And then I watched the entire fourth quarter just waiting for that last one to fall. Just can you get the one? And they couldn't get the one. Missed 13 in a row.
Ooh, that probably brought down the three-point percentage considerably.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
I was about to say, what was it overall?
Peyton Pritchard was 1 for 9 on the game.
Ouch.
Sam Hauser was 2 of 7. And Xavier Tillman was 0 of 3. On the game, the Celtics as a team were 29 of 61. So they were just absolutely scorching before missing those last 13. They were shooting about 66-ish% before that. But they ended up
just under 50?
Just under 50, 47.5.
I can do math quick.
Hey, there you go, man. But it was a good game from them. And kind of feel bad for the Knicks. They just got hit with an avalanche early. They made a trade recently, getting Towns and shipping out DiVincenzo and Randall. So they got a lot of moving pieces to try and fit in.
And they didn't really have that long of off-season workouts to work together, so it'll take time for the Knicks to gel together. And I probably can see them as the 2 in the West. Or East.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked. I mean, they are a very deep team with McBride down there. And then, I feel like I haven't gotten to say his name in a long time, but Cameron Payne, he's finally healthy, and he had 11 points last night, and the game was over. But, yeah, I think he'll be a nice backup point guard, a really good piece for this team throughout the season. So, yeah, I think the Knicks will be good, but, the Celtics.
Everybody's still got to compete with the Celtics.
Yeah.
I mean, probably number 1 seed again. I don't doubt it. Unless, barring an injury, I think the only thing that could stop them. Because nobody else in the East really stepped up, got a big acquisition. I feel like, except for the Knicks getting Cat, but if he can stay healthy.
And McCall Bridges.
That's right. I forgot about Bridges.
They did go and add him. But still, regardless, I think I agree with you. They're probably the number 2.
We don't agree a lot on this show.
The number 1 threat in the Eastern Conference. Yeah, things happen sometimes. But still, I think it's going to be a very large mountain to climb with how good the Celtics are, because that was without Porzingis.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's still recovering from that foot fracture. So good start to the season for my C's, and I think we'll know like in about a month. We'll know if they got a chance to do it.
Okay.
But I think they got a chance to break the all-time wins record.
Ooh, all right.
Because I believe that would be 74-8.
Yeah, because
the Warriors did 73-9. Yeah, so
all right, we'll see.
It's a tall task, but
it is.
With a team this good, I think they can pull it off.
And then the other game last night was the Lakers and the Timberwolves, and I thought at first the Lakers, I think I checked in and they were up like 15-20 at one point. I didn't turn it off, and then I saw it's like the T-Wolves got it back to, I think they got it within 10 once, but then I forget the final. But they made it close. And, I mean, AD having that huge double-double, 36 points, was phenomenal for him. Best start to the best opening game season he's ever had point-wise. And, I mean, I guess we got to talk about the elephant in the room with the, LeBron and Bronny playing on the same court, father-son.
Yeah, I said a moment ago when we started the show that you were kind of frustrated about something.
A little bit.
I saw you posting about it on the socials, so go ahead.
Yeah, we saw, I mean, yeah, it's history because it's never happened before in the NBA, but I don't need to hear about it 81 more times this year, father-son on the court. I don't care if they both make their layups as first father-son duo. They both make their free throws. They both drink orange Gatorade on a Tuesday night in Dallas in January. I don't care. I don't need ESPN to care about that either. I mean, if you look at the stat line, and this is where I'm probably going to be irritated a lot with the NBA. Let me make sure I have it.
They pulled up the combined stat line?
Yes, the combined stat line was 16 points. LeBron had all 16 with like 7 rebounds. LeBron had 6 of the 7, and all the assists were to LeBron as well. So Bronny had 1 rebound in that game.
One statistical.
Yeah, one thing he had. And, I mean, you saw probably the comments on
it. The 1 3-pointer.
Oh, they made
have
one.
The 1 3-pointer
and that was
at the
LeBron.
bottom. Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't, and I'm not bashing on LeBron. I'm not bashing on the Lakers. This is more the media aspect. And we've talked about this on the show. The only reason Bronny was drafted is because of who his dad is. His dad is the Lakers coach. Sorry, JJ, you're not the coach. But no, so without LeBron's name or without LeBron being in charge, Bronny wouldn't, I would even think, be in the G League, really.
Yeah.
Because his under 4.5 points at USC last year is not anything to be drafted by.
Well, and to your point about him not, like, I'm with you. I don't want to bash Bronny because it's not his fault that he's been put in a position that he shouldn't be in yet, right? But
kind of reminds you of the Ball situation with their dad. Their dad was saying stuff that they couldn't back up.
See, I agree, kind of, but I don't know. I don't think I would go that far. But no, I think, like, when you think about the G League, those guys are, dudes that are experienced, guys that have been in the league for 4 or 5 years and are trying to make their way up to the NBA. These guys are a lot of the guys are some of the dudes who are the best in college but just weren't good enough to make it. And these are grown men. These are, strong dudes. And, Bronny, he's still a kid. Like, he's 19, right?
Yeah, 18, 19.
Yeah,
about to turn 19 maybe.
Yeah, and so, it's nothing against him, but it's like, he's still got to grow. He's still got to get better. And, but yeah, I think we'll be seeing those combined stat lines more and more throughout the season. But fun fact, when was the last time that LeBron won a opening game to the season?
Oh, geez. If you're asking, it's probably been like 5 or 6, if not longer, years.
So I think he's been with the Lakers for 6 years.
Has it done it with the Lakers?
0-6.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, so first time.
Well, then the media's got to say that Bronny helped him do that.
Hey, maybe. I don't know. But regardless, that was also a very good game. Didn't get to watch too much of it, but Julius Randle had a good showing for his first night there in Minnesota, and Anthony Edwards is just a boss. His shooting percentage wasn't the greatest; only shot 40% on 25 shots. And that's a big reason why they probably lost. It wasn't quite good enough, but also they didn't get enough from the other guys, right? Jaden McDaniels had 6 points. Mike Conley had 5. Naz Reid came off the bench and had 12, but then Joel Ingles, nothing.
Right.
DiVincenzo and Nickeil Alexander-Walker were really good, but you need more from your starters.
Yeah.
So, good game, but so I guess
got 81 more.
Celtics Lakers, yeah, it made 81 more, but Celtics Lakers.
Do they play each other anytime soon?
Oh, now you're gonna make me go look. I'm not sure. While I'm checking, I was gonna say, the 2 most storied teams in the history of the league both get off to 1-0 starts. So I don't foresee them playing in the finals, but
oh no, not the Lakers.
Who knows, man?
Before we transition, World Series starts this weekend.
Yeah. Okay.
Just a quick pick. Who you going for? I know it's both teams we didn't want to see in it. The Dodgers representing the National League and the Yankees, the American League.
See, if I was picking with my heart, I would almost have to just hope that neither team wins, because I really hate both of them.
They can't tie.
But they can't tie. So I guess I gotta go with the Dodgers, just for the fact that everyone knows I'm a Reds fan.
League, yeah.
I'm a Reds fan, but also I'm a Red Sox fan, and I can't root for the Yankees.
Yeah.
That's a no-no.
I'm rooting with my wallet because I bet on the Dodgers the day after they got Ohtani. So if that happens, I win $175. So I'm rooting for the Dodgers. Outside of that, I could care less. All right, so we're going to transition over to college football this past weekend.
Yeah, sure.
All right, so got started off last week on Friday. Oregon, now number 1 because of Texas loss. We'll get to that in a second, but just blanked Purdue 35-0. Purdue they're 1-6-0 and 4 in the Big Ten. Dylan Gabriel, super efficient, 21 of 24, 209 yards and 2 touchdowns. It's just Oregon is a very efficient team, and they're going to be tough to stop. And when it comes to the college football playoffs, in a couple months.
And that was one that I really thought was going to be a trap game for them. Coming off the big win against Ohio State. And Purdue, they played well the week before. I knew they wouldn't put up 45 points, but I took Purdue with the points because just for the simple fact, I didn't think that they'd lose 35-0.
True.
I thought that they would
you put up 45 against Illinois, maybe you can at least get 50 or 20 out of them.
Right.
Nope. Oregon's defense shut them out.
Not at all. So.
Number 13 BYU had a game-winning kick field goal over Oklahoma State as time expired. So the Cougars remained 7-0, and they actually moved up to, where did they go? 11 this week. So they moved up 2 spots in the poll. Then the big one, Saturday night, Georgia went to the Longhorns.
Yeah, but I tell you what, as bad as how it felt the Longhorns played,
they were still 2 plays in the second half from being in it.
Yeah, they still hung around, and they made a handful of very, very crucial mistakes, and just in the first half in general. It didn't matter who was playing quarterback. No one could read the Georgia defense. No one was in a rhythm, and they couldn't get anything going, on the offensive end. And then the second half, they kind of settled down a little bit. And, it was their first real big SEC test. Yeah.
And so Oklahoma didn't do anything the week before in the Red River rivalry.
Yeah. So, and even so, even though that is a SEC test, that's still, they're used to playing Oklahoma. They play them all the time. Just because you move it over to the SEC, that doesn't change that game at all. So it's their first real true SEC test, and they got punched in the mouth.
Yeah, Jalen Walker punched them in the mouth. Texas had given up 7 sacks all year before this game. They gave up 3 to Jalen Walker. Georgia had 7 sacks and 10 tackles for loss in that game. I think it definitely opened up Texas's eyes. We'll see how Shark comes back this week in another top 25 game. It's Vanderbilt though, so I don't know. They beat Alabama, and then we can just kind of transition into that one. Alabama and Tennessee. You were over for part of that second half of that game.
Yeah, dude.
And we talked about how so wildly inaccurate both Milroe and Nico, because I'm not doing the last name.
Iamalieva.
Yeah. They cannot hit the long ball accurately at all. And then Nico, it's not even the long ball. He can't even hit a 15-yard pass accurately down the field.
Yeah, it was weird. Like I don't know. That was a tough game to watch. It was like a rock fight for large portions of the game because neither team was able to really get things going on offense. I mean, I guess both teams did have over 300 yards. Alabama had 314 and Tennessee had 400. But I don't know, dude. It just felt like...
It didn't seem like it.
Yeah, it didn't feel like there was that much going on. Alabama couldn't run the ball at all. 34 rushes for 75 yards.
Ooh.
You flip the script, and Tennessee, they could run at will. 43 rushes for 214.
Oh, yeah. Samson, $139.
Yeah, $139 and 2 touchdowns. Yeah, he was fantastic. I still think that Nico's got to get a lot better. He has to speed up his process. Like, he holds the ball way too long, and, like, because he holds the ball too long, he's not on schedule with the play. And what I mean, like, you know, if there's a play that's designed to be like a 3 or a 5-step drop, you have to get rid of it pretty much at 3 steps, or 3 steps, step in to your throw, make the throw. You have to do it quickly. You don't have time to hesitate because then your next read, your second read, and your third read are all off.
And it's only his 7th start in college football.
Yeah, so he's got plenty of time to be able to grow and to get better. But it's a big issue that he's got right now, and it's a reason why, as much as I like Tennessee, I don't necessarily know if they are competitors, real contenders this year.
And now, I was about to say, with 2 losses, does that kind of infringe on Alabama's playoff hopes?
It does, but still, they have such a tough schedule. I mean, let me go down and look at it. Number 8, LSU, up next. So I guess that's actually all they really have left. Oklahoma is a good name, and Auburn, that's big.
It's always a big rivalry game to end the year.
Yeah, but Auburn isn't very good either. I mean, 2-5 on the season.
Never mind. It will definitely be, I think they're on the outside now looking in. A lot it depends on what happens in front of them.
I would actually say, after looking at the schedule, they do have Mizzou this week. So they have 2 more ranked teams, and then Oklahoma, which they're not a bad team. They just have no offense.
Yeah.
But so, I think after looking at their schedule, I think they're kind of, they don't control their own destiny at this point. They need things. They need dominoes to fall in order to get in. But all that being said, I still think that they got a shot. I think they have a better shot than Tennessee, even though they just lost to Tennessee.
All right, and you talked about no offense. We're going to talk about a lot of offense with Miami and Louisville.
I was wondering when you were going to go to that game.
Miami Louisville 52-45. Miami moves up to never mind. They stay number 6 in the nation, but giving up 45 points, I feel like Miami is kind of a pretender, if you want to say, because I think they don't play Clemson in the regular season. They'll probably play them in the ACC championship game. And I feel like when they actually play a defense that is going to give them fits, because looking at their schedule, they had a 39-38 win over Cal last week, 38-34 over Virginia Tech. And those are teams that they don't put up a lot of points. He beat USF 50-15 and Ball State 62-0. But I mean, they got to play. Never mind, they're not going to play defense this week in Florida State. But, I mean, Duke is middle of the pack, and you look over here. Duke is – where are they at? Duke is 2-1 in conference play, 6-1 overall, so there might be a decent defense. Georgia Tech, 3-2, 5-3. They're going to play some, and then you got Syracuse at the end of the regular season. So they have a couple chances to try to make that defense better, but will it make it better is the question.
Yeah, I don't really know. I don't know if they're going to play any defense all season down there in Miami. But unless they play, I mean, I don't know. It might not matter, dude. They can just put up 50 points every single week.
You're going to have to win your games in the playoffs 55-45.
I mean, I don't think that they are going to win a title, but I definitely think that they're a playoff team.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It's they're one of those teams that is kind of in that middle ground where they do have a Heisman candidate at quarterback. Cam Ward is amazing and potential number 1 overall pick. Probably not, but potentially he could be. 312.
Anybody could be. Carolina gets the number 1 pick.
319 yards, 4 touchdowns. Just ridiculous. And they ran the ball well. Like they don't have any flaws on offense.
No,
it's just the fact that their defense is a spaghetti strainer. It's just letting everything through.
Jumping around, not really had to focus on some of the games because, like, Notre Dame destroyed Georgia Tech.
How about Indiana?
Yeah, Matt Rule. What the hell?
I totally got that one wrong.
I did too.
Oh, really? I thought that you picked Indiana.
I outright I picked Indiana, but I also went back and I did Nebraska plus the 6.5. That didn't matter.
Yeah.
In a different bet, yeah. So yeah, Chris Signotti? Carcetti. Sorry. Yeah, he's Sargetti, something like that.
Something. Yeah, I'd have to see it again.
He's got it cooking in Bloomington, and in college football game day, he's going to be there for the first time ever this weekend in Bloomington for Washington. So yeah, it'll be fun to see Indiana go up, and first time ever Indiana is higher ranked than Alabama in football.
Yeah.
Signetti.
Yeah,
Ever thought we'd say that? Indiana ranked higher than Alabama in football?
Isn't that wild?
Yeah, that's insane.
And just the fact that, I really like Matt Rule. I like the teams that he's put together. Was he an NFL coach? Maybe not. Probably not.
He took a paycheck as an NFL coach.
That's true. But then he's come to Nebraska and, kind of turned the program around.
And that's what he did with Baylor, too.
They haven't been amazing yet.
Not turned it around, but made a contender.
But they're starting to get there. So I figured they'd come in and, that the Hoosiers, they're in the first year of this rebuild, They just got their coach. And so that would be, I just really thought that it was next year that they would make it happen. Instead, they came in and
doing it this year.
Yeah, Coach Signetti said, "No, we're doing it right now. I don't care who Matt Rule is. I don't care how long he's been building his program." Dylan Royola had a really rough day.
Yeah,
3 interceptions, 28 for 45. So that's barely over. That's barely over 50%. And only 5 yards of play. They couldn't run the ball. 29 rushes for 70 yards. And the fact that Royola threw 3 interceptions. It hurt their
really
defense.
Short fields for the Hoosiers.
Yeah, really hurt their defense and allowed the Hoosiers to just pile on the points.
Nothing else really outstanding this week. The rest of the slate this past weekend. Army and Navy both stay undefeated. Good for that. Rooting for the service academies to do as best as they can. So now I guess we kind of got to move over to the pick'ems for this week.
Yes.
All right. So we got.
Oh, wait a minute. Before we do that, we should have talked about this during the Georgia when we talked about Georgia Texas, but I completely forgot about it. I don't know how. But what the heck was going on when they threw the flag for
DPI?
Yeah. Was it DPI? And then all the fans started throwing bottles and stuff onto the field?
Yeah.
And then they pick up the flag?
That gave the refs time to talk about it, which I agreed with picking up the flag. I didn't feel like it was DPI because they both were going at each other, and the defender got his head turned around just before the ball got there. But, you can't. I said when they started throwing stuff on the field that's a 15-yard penalty. We've seen that so many times in college football at other places.
Right, and so that's one of the things that I was shocked about. But, if it's not a DPI, you almost can't pick it up, though, because you're setting a bad precedent. Oh, did we just scare the refs?
I guess we're going to start throwing stuff at other fields.
Yes, exactly. Is that going to cause a string of stupid, immature fans throwing stuff onto the field to try and scare refs and change calls. I don't like it. So they at least, if you pick that one up, then you throw another one for that is a flag, right? Like
it's an unsportsmanlike conduct, or it's a delay a game against the host school.
Right. So, and I get it that the team had nothing to do with that, but
it's how you set order.
Yeah. Control your fans.
Mm-hmm. All right, this week we'll go through them quickly. Syracuse at Pitt.
Syracuse at Pitt.
I've talked so much crap about Kyle McCord, and I feel like Pittsburgh has survived a few games and gotten lucky. I'm gonna go with Syracuse this week as for an upset.
I hate that I agree with you. I hate picking Kyle McCord.
So you're not, or are you picking Pitt?
No, I'm picking Syracuse, but I hate doing it.
I don't have to ask about Boise State and UNLV. Know where your heart lies.
That'll be a tough
there.
one, though.
Really?
Yeah. UNLV is no joke.
Okay.
They're not to be trifled with. They're a good team. I definitely think they're the best team left on the schedule, and I wouldn't be shocked if we end up playing them in the conference championship game.
Okay.
So, and when you go back and you look at it at the beginning of the season, first week of the season they played Houston, beat them. Second week it was an easy one, Utah Tech. They blew their doors off 72-14. But then they went to Kansas, beat them 23-20. They go to Fresno and spank them 59-14.
Ouch.
And then they just barely lost to Syracuse the next week. Syracuse won in overtime 44-41. So even after losing the quarterback, they still have a very dynamic offense. They put up 50 yesterday, or 2 weeks ago, against Utah State, and then they put up 33 against Oregon State last week. So, yeah, they are definitely, in my opinion, the second best team in the Mountain West, and it won't be an easy game. So I would expect a big day from Ashton Genty.
All right, Nebraska and Ohio State.
Ohio State was inactive last week, coming off of a loss, and that almost makes me have to pick them. But then it almost makes me want to pick Matt Rule because how poorly they played last week, and it's like that he's going to be on his guys to get them to play better.
You want to know the point spread? 25 and a half.
I'm actually looking at it right now.
Okay.
I was going to say. See, but I feel like that's over-exaggerated because of how bad they lost last week. So I'm going to say the Buckeyes win, but I would not take the points.
All right.
I would take take Nebraska with plus
26 points.
Yeah.
Notre Dame at Navy. Know where I'm going? Going with the midshipmen.
I hate Notre Dame.
I hate them too.
I'm not picking them.
All right. Washington and Indiana. I don't think we really had to. I mean, we're both with the Hoosiers on that one.
Dude. Yep.
Oklahoma and Ole Miss.
Oklahoma just can't move the ball.
Yeah. So Ole Miss both there. Illinois at Oregon. Oregon, Gabriel is just too efficient, so I don't see Illinois being able to do anything.
They're fantastic.
BYU and UCF. It's a conference game. UCF's getting 2 at home, but I'm still taking the Cougars.
Yeah, me too. We might agree on every game this week.
Mizzou and Bama. I'm taking Bama solely because Brady Cook has a messed up ankle. And if they one bad tackle, he's gone.
Yeah, and it's minus 14. Vegas is normally pretty close on that stuff, and that's a lot to overcome. I'm taking Bama.
Texas at Vandy. That's that top 25 matchup I was talking to you about.
I definitely think Texas is bouncing back.
Yeah. Although Vandy 8-3 all time against Texas. You want to know when Vandy's the last game in that series was?
During the Reagan administration?
No, before that. Before World War I. So yeah, it's been a while.
Wow. Okie dokie.
Miami, because Florida State is trash.
Yes. I love how you didn't even say Florida State. You just said we're picking Miami.
LSU at A&M. This one I think could be one of the better SEC games this year.
It's so hard to trust a Brian Kelly coach team.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, it just depends on what year it is. One year LSU is amazing, and the next year they can be really good, but be paper tigers, and then one year they're just absolutely awful. Is this the year that they're paper tigers? I don't know. I really like Garrett Nessinger. Okay. That's
I'm taking
wild
LSU.
Name. I'm glad I got it right. So I guess I'm going to take LSU, but that's a tough one for me to pick.
Battle of Kansas. K-State.
K-State, man. I'm an Avery Johnson guy.
Mm-hmm. And then the final ranked one, SMU at Duke. I'm taking SMU.
Me too.
I was looking up
they've been really good, but we skipped one. Penn State.
Oh, I didn't. That wasn't on.
Penn State, Wisconsin.
Oh, Wisconsin can't move the ball. I'm taking Penn State. As much as I'd love to pick Wisconsin, I can't. I feel like James Franklin is not into that stretch of the schedule where he could lose, where he should lose a game. I don't know what the rest of their schedule looks like.
Well, so it's Wisconsin this week. Then it's the Buckeyes the next week.
That's a loss for them.
We'll see.
Hopefully.
Washington the week after that. Purdue, Minnesota, Maryland. They could just find themselves in the playoffs just by the fact that they don't play anybody. They play the Buckeyes, they win that game. They're definitely in the playoffs. No shot to miss.
I was looking. I had to look up SMU's team name because I drew a blank, and the first thing I found out was, SMU,
Mustangs, right?
Yeah. They used to have a little Shetland pony be their mascot that they kind of ran out with, like Boomer and Sooner.
Hell yeah.
They don't have that anymore because it's like in the 50s, the pony kicked its trainer in the head and killed it. So they got rid of not got rid of, but they don't have the live mascot anymore.
I shouldn't have been taking a drink when you said that. I almost spit that across the room. Carl would have thrown me out.
All right, so we got to go through NFL recap real quick and then picks this week. Let's see. We were both right about Sean Payton going back and just shoving his foot up the rear end of the Saints.
That was bad, wasn't it?
It was horrible.
I knew it was going to be ugly, but I didn't think it was going to end up quite that bad. 33-10.
I don't think Denver put up 30 points the last two games.
Was it Sheehy that ended up breaking his leg?
Yes.
Rough, literally rough break for him. And that, when you kind of looked at it, that was weird because, I was listening to a couple of former PFF guys on the way in here, and Sam Monson, he said that it kind of looked like it almost broke before he got hit.
Oh.
Yeah, if you go back and you watch it, he said, "Nope, I'm good."
I'll take your word.
It kind of, and that's just so weird considering your fibula or tibia. Which one is it? Yeah, tibia is like the strongest bone in the body or whatever.
Not for Aiden Hutchinson either.
That was. Oh yeah, that's right. His bro, 2 in a week. Mm-hmm. That's wild.
Jacksonville can win in London. That's all I really got to say. Trevor Lawrence didn't look bad. Got the win, but Drake May tried to make something in the first half, and just that second quarter got away from him. You can't be outscored 22-0 in a quarter and expect to win a game.
Yeah, and then did you hear what John Mayo came out and said this week? He said after the game that his team is soft.
Isn't that kind of his job to make them tough?
Yeah, but is that your only thoughts on it? Because
if they're soft, it's because you're not hard enough on them. So you got to make them hard. It's your job,
right? As the coach,
then you're soft coach.
Well,
last name Mayo.
This is with something.
We'll talk about that game next too.
He needs to go to Tennessee. But anyways, because then you'll have Mayo and the Mayo Man. But anyways, I don't know if they're soft or if they're just not good. It is not very good.
I can see a combination of both.
I feel like people might have gotten overhyped him a little bit.
I did a little bit
because they beat the Bengals week 1 and they shocked people. They looked really good, and it's like, wait a minute, did they beat the Bengals week 1 or did the Bengals just not win week 1?
Suck week 1.
Yeah, so it's like I feel like people got maybe a little too into them, and then they've lost obviously 6 in a row since. So. And it's probably going to be 7. I don't quite know who they play next week, but I'm assuming it's probably another L.
It is the Jets.
The Jets? Yeah, that's I mean,
in 2 weeks.
They could win. Oh, are they on
They
bye?
don't lose on the bye week, so hey, that's good.
It might be the only week the rest of the season that they don't pick up an L. But Drake May, he played good.
Yeah.
Again, 275 yards, 2 touchdowns.
That offensive line is protecting him for now.
Yeah,
they couldn't do it for
But the question
whoever
is,
it was.
it was Jacoby Brissett.
That's right.
The question is, I just said it a second ago, they don't have a lot of talent on this team. So how long is he going to be able to perform reasonably well, especially for a rookie, with this subpar supporting cast, right? It's not like he gets drafted to Washington, where they at least have Terry McLaurin. They have
Brian Robinson.
They have Brian Robinson, Eckler as well in the backfield. Ertz, he's old, but he's still good.
Yeah.
It's not like he goes to as much as I don't like Caleb. Chicago, with all the different weapons that they have there, and then they also have a good defense. So he did not get put into a great situation, and I just hope that he's not ruined for it.
Because of, yeah. Seahawks, they kind of shut down the Kirk Cousins and the Falcons train a little bit. 20-point win for the Seahawks on the road. Buffalo, they get the win over Mayonnaise Boy. Bengals get the win over the Browns. Joe Burrow's first win in Cleveland.
And it's not even like we played particularly well, but
I think that is Burrow's cursed sitting.
Yeah.
Hopefully, if the Bengals ever get to the Super Bowl, they don't play it in Cleveland that year.
I'm with you. But Charlie Jones, that opening kickoff return, fantastic. He was tiptoeing the sidelines there, the final 5-10 yards, and was able to dive his way in. That made me really happy. I love Charlie Jones. That's my guy.
How many guys do you have on the Bengals?
A lot of them, man. A lot of them. That's my team.
Every week, somebody else is new as your guy.
Yeah, no, it's not new. He's been my guy.
Okay.
If you remember, and the people at home watching can go back and check the tape. When we drafted him, I was very excited. He was hurt all last year and really didn't get a chance to do much, but I've always been a big Charlie Jones guy just because of his production and his film in college. Gave me Cooper Kupp vibes. Not saying he's that good, but he had that kind of a flavor to him.
Okay.
T. Higgins has been awesome. It took him a week or two to find the field, but since he's been on the field, he's been spectacular. 4 catches for 82 yards and another touchdown this week. The Bengals offense wasn't great, but the defense, I mean, sure, it's Deshaun Watson, so I'm not trying to overreact and say that it was fantastic, but it held the opposing offense to only 14 points, and I just said a moment ago how great T. Higgins was. In, what has he played, 4 games? 5 games?
5. He missed
29 catches, 350 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Those aren't like the most eye-popping numbers, but if you watch the Bengals games, you know every single time that they need a big play, a big catch, it's almost exclusively, to pick up the first down. It's T. Higgins. He's there in all those big moments this year. Kinda, and I'm not one of these guys that thinks that we can pay both wide receivers. It's kind of making you think, can you find a way to fit them both under?
If not, you got to try to work out a trade because you don't want to let him walk for nothing.
Yeah.
The only thing I have to say about the Texans and the Packers is you play for the field goal, you lose by a field goal. And that is what the Texans did. They lost by 2, but they lost on a field goal because they were playing conservative, went down the field, ran it 3 times, get into field goal range. And, I mean, John Madden said you play prevent defense, it prevents you from winning the game. Playing for the field goal is kind of a prevent defense on the offensive side. Yeah,
and they gotta figure out what is wrong with CJ Stroud down there in Houston.
Yeah.
10 for 21 with 86 yards.
Oh, I didn't realize it was that bad.
Yeah, man. It has not been good so far, this season. I'm trying to pull up the season stats. My phone is being a little slow. 1,600 yards, 10 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. So it's not like he's turning the ball over a ton, but he's not being...
are killing him.
Yeah, and he's not being efficient. He had a few big weeks earlier, but even in a couple weeks ago, when they beat the brakes off of the Patriots, he's still he had less than 200 yards. So yeah, they gotta get him figured out if they're gonna be able to take the next step. And that was something that they got the benefit of having a soft schedule last year. because they were bad enough to get CJ Stroud.
Yeah.
And now you're having to play tougher teams, and that brings up different challenges, and they're having growing pains this year.
Colts went over the Dolphins. Tua might be back next week.
Yeah, it's looking like he will be back this week.
I don't want to see him keep getting hurt.
He was going to come back at some point.
Yeah. Lions win a thriller. That game, the first quarter, I thought the Vikings are going to win this one easily. They just kind of went down the field on both the scoring drives, and then Detroit comes back with 21 in the second, and then Minnesota had a little bit of fire late, took the lead late, and then the Lions got a walk-off field goal.
Yeah, David Montgomery ends up getting hurt during the game and finishes with only 9 carries for 31 yards. I don't know the extent of the injury, but Jahmyr Gibbs stepped up. Like everyone knows he's capable of doing. Ended up having 15 rushes for $116, 2 touchdowns, and then another 4 catches for 44 through the air. If David Montgomery is going to be taking a back seat for an injury for an extended period of time, that's just going to skyrocket.
You got a good backup.
That's it. Say what?
Or you got a good, not backup, but second piece to your running back.
Oh, dude. Jahmyr Gibbs is just, he's so talented, and if he's actually able to get full-time touches, we'll see a next level, I think,
next
emerge.
Level Gibbs.
Yeah.
Saquon says screw you to the Giants and has a record day. 176 yards on the ground as the Giants. They switched to Daniel Jones as well. And Daniel Jones has not thrown a touchdown at MetLife Stadium.
Lock?
I said switched from Daniel Jones.
Oh.
Yeah.
I got you.
To Drew. I forgot their backup was, so I didn't say the name. But yeah, Daniel Jones hasn't thrown a touchdown in MetLife Stadium since that incredible run 2 years ago, because he got hurt early last year. So yeah, he still hasn't thrown Yeah.
You play half your games at home. That's pretty bad. He ended up with less than 100 yards. Jalen Hurts not much better though. $114 and a touchdown. But like you said, Saquon Barkley had himself a day. Average over 10 yards a carry, looking like Ashton Genty.
The Rams, they win a defensive battle. They get 4 turnovers after Aiden O'Connell breaks his thumb. Dude. So they went back to Minshew, and he didn't provide anything else.
They're just going to find ways to win games. That's just what Sean McVay does.
Right.
They're not going to be a great team this year, but
they'll be not contention, but they'll be spoilers.
Yeah, for sure.
The Commanders lose Daniels to a rib, and Marcus Mariota says, "All right, this is a resurgent year for former quarterbacks," and comes in and leads them to a 40-7 win over the Panthers.
Mm-hmm. Did you see the? It was actually the video from, I think it was 2 weeks ago now. It was super wholesome. Maybe I'll find it, send it to you, and you can throw it in post. Of Derrick Henry and Marcus Mariota when they met up and shook hands either before or after the.
Oh, that's right.
The Ravens.
That was last week, yeah.
Redskins game. You would have thought that Derrick Henry's best friend was Marcus Mariota. Like they were 5-year-olds and that he just got to go over and hang out with his best buddy for the first time in a while. It was just a pretty cool video, the way that he reacted. So I thought it was pretty cool. But yeah, they beat the brakes off of him.
I don't want to talk about the Chiefs-Niners game then.
I will talk about it for just a moment, just to say that as the All-Star cast is not playing well, the Niners and Brock Purdy aren't playing quite so well. And I hate to be this guy, and I'm not a hater, but it's like we have to realize what his actual ceiling is. He's a game manager. He's a good quarterback. He's a good starting NFL quarterback. He's not going to be the guy that leads you over the top to win a Super Bowl. And if you do win a Super Bowl with him, it would be as if Alex Smith was your quarterback, right? And I think a lot of people know I love Alex Smith. Right? He was a great quarterback for a really long time. He just didn't have it to be able to get his teams over the top. But you could go and get Alex Smith, and he would run your team to the playoffs, and then even you'd win a game or two. But you're just not winning a chip with him. And Brock Purdy is the type of guy where you just need so much extra stuff around him. You can't win and pay him $60 million a year. And that's what the premier starting quarterbacks get, and you just can't afford to do that with him. You're setting your team back a decade if you do that.
And the injury bug has gotten a hold of the Niners so
Well, that's
much.
what I'm saying.
I mean,
That's
when your best receiver right now is a guy who got shot in the chest 2 months before the season started because they
really?
lost Debo, or not, Debo's out for this week, Ayuk's out for the season. So, yeah, I mean, and then, I said receiver because, Kittle's still there, but he's the tight end. You're gonna double team Pearsall and him, and Mason can't do it all. They just don't have any offensive weapons right now until they can all get healthy. And it's gonna be a long season for the 49ers.
Yeah, and that was kind of just my point. As the All-Star cast kind of starts to dissipate, you'll see that. They're 3-4 right now. Mm-hmm. They're an ultra talented roster, but Brock Purdy is not the guy to elevate it.
Not without some of that talent.
Sadly, yeah.
Okay, so Devontae Adams loses to the Steelers last Monday night.
Yeah.
Gets traded to the Jets, loses to Steelers Sunday night.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
Twice in a week.
Aaron Rodgers is not looking like what the Jets thought what they were giving up to get him.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think I might have said on the show last week that if this Russell Wilson thing does not work out, Tomlin has to be fired for it because he's not the offensive coach, right? Mm-hmm. And Justin Fields got him to 4-2.
And I kind of felt,
Russell Wilson played pretty well, 264, 2 touchdowns, wasn't making mistakes, was throwing the ball up to George Pickens and Pat Freiermuth. They were making big plays, and they looked pretty good. And hey, the offensive line did a great job blocking. They've averaged over 4 yards a carry and almost 150 yards rushing.
Yeah.
Good for them. This is a tough Steelers team. Ravens, Bucks.
Nope, don't have anything. Yeah.
That was a very entertaining game.
Yeah.
That
Bucks jump up 10 early in the first. I was like, oh, I was right. I was like, oh, Tampa's going to – I didn't think Tampa was going to blow the doors off of them, but I thought Tampa was going to contend and really put it to them. And then 34 unanswered points by the Ravens said,
281, 5 touchdowns for Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry.
Not bad for a running back.
15 rushes for 169, and he actually didn't have any touchdowns on the ground.
No, he didn't play a lot.
Crazy.
His longest run was where he got all of his yards, I feel.
He did have a receiving touchdown for 13 yards. His 81-yard rush was huge, but when you take that out, he still had almost 70 yards on 14 carries. So that's still
I guess that every time I would pay attention, it's like he was on the sideline. Mm-hmm. And then Chargers Tampa Bay losing Godwin with an ankle injury.
Rough.
Oh, was that announced for the season?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then Evans with that hamstring.
I think it was, yeah.
And then Evans with the hamstring, you're down your top 2 receivers. Cade Otton's going to be the number 1 target. And then, again, with that, you play for the field goal, you lose the game. Chargers played for the field goal and gave Cardinals enough time to get into field goal range again.
The Chargers, how bad their offense has been this year has been absolutely shocking. Herbert did end up having 350 this week.
Oh, my.
But
that's a lot for him.
Yeah, but that needs to happen more consistently. Mm-hmm. Take some pressure. I don't know how they didn't score more points. Take pressure off of your defense. Make things easier on them by making it so they don't have to be perfect. Come on, Harbaugh. You know what you're doing. Coach better.
All right, so picks for this week.
I did want to talk about, I think, one other thing, two other things, because there was a trade this morning, and there was a trade, there was another wide receiver trade, Amari Cooper to the Bills. I don't think we mentioned that, did we?
Last week we did.
Oh, we did? Mm-hmm. Did that happen last week?
Yeah, it happened last Tuesday, and we kind of talked about it at the end of the show.
Oh, okay. Well,
and then D-Hop this morning?
Yeah, I was going to say, I didn't remember commenting on that, but since I brought it up, I'll just say I think that's huge for them because they don't have, Khalil Shakir is a veteran wide receiver in that locker room. Now they got another guy like him, and it'll just make it easier.
And it might open it up more now for Kincaid and Knox to...
I definitely think it will. Yeah, because you'll be able to stretch the field a little bit better, and you got a real nice threat on the outside, and then you got the young guy Coleman, who he's been good so far, and he'll just continue to learn with a better guy like Amari Cooper to be able to learn behind. So, good for them. And then, DeAndre Hopkins, the rich just get richer. Is he going to be phenomenal the rest of the season? No, but they don't need a lot of help to Right? They just need.
You got to get one person that can take the double team off of Kelsey, and I guess that's the one person.
Yeah, I think D-Hop. I mean, he'll finish the season. I feel like with over 1,000 yards, and I think I'll have a good rest of the year. So
all right.
It's frustrating, but gotta hate the Chiefs, man.
All right. So picks for this week: Thursday night, Vikings at the Rams. I'm taking the Vikings.
Definitely picking the Vikings.
Eagles at the Bengals. I'm taking the Bengals.
Me too. I think we get back to 500 this week before.
Bye week next week?
No, is it bye week next week?
I don't know.
I think we got the Raiders next week, and then I think
pre-bye week.
The Raiders next week, and then we got Thursday night against the Ravens.
Ooh.
And then the bye week, I think, is after that, I guess.
Okay. Oh, there you go. You get kind of an extended bye week.
No, because it's only a 10-day break. Wow. So then the bye week is after the Chargers game. So what week are we in? Week 7?
8.
Week 8?
Going into week 8.
So that's another 3
weeks for the bye week?
Yeah. 3 more weeks for the bye week.
Ravens, Browns? I probably don't even have to ask.
Yeah, definitely the Browns.
Don't have to ask about the next one either. But
I don't think you heard
Titans,
me.
Lions.
I said definitely the Browns, but I was joking. No.
I'll write it down.
No, I'm joking. You say what was the next one?
The Lions, Titans.
Yeah.
Cardinals, Dolphins. I kind of feel like that.
The Dolphins. I'm picking the Dolphins.
Oh.
Yeah, Tua's back. I think he's actually back this week. So
I'm gonna take the Cards. Jets, Patriots.
I'm picking the Patriots. I do not believe. Excuse me, the Jets.
Okay.
I said it backwards. My bad. I just don't believe in what Gerard Mayo's got going on.
I don't trust Aaron Rodgers, so I'm going to take the Patriots.
I get it.
Falcons, but they just played 2 weeks ago.
And they turn around doing it right back one more time.
I'm taking the Falcons in this one. Too many injuries, I think, for Tampa.
Yeah, I guess. That's a tough decision because I want to pick Tampa, but they can beat up.
I can be racing. Packers, Jaguars. Packers.
I feel like there's always like a game that a team shouldn't lose. This is not going to be that one for the Packers.
Okay. Colts, Texans. I'm taking the Colts. Richardson gets hurt. I got the best backup in the league with Flacco.
Oh, is he actually hurt again?
If he gets hurt.
Oh,
no, Richardson's back, but if he gets hurt, hey, I got the best backup in the league.
Yeah, I think I'm going with the Colts too. The Texans not been as good as what they're supposed to be this year.
Ooh, this is a bad one. Saints, Chargers.
Chargers. No hesitation.
It's just going to be a bad game. Boring.
I'm just picking hardball.
Yeah. Bills, Seahawks.
That should be entertaining. But I think I'm going to pick the Bills.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm taking the Seahawks because the Bills got to go cross country.
Oh, it's one of those. I might be wrong on that one then.
Broncos, Panthers.
Yep, taking the Bronx. I don't know. I've never heard that as a Broncos nickname. I just pulled that one out.
Chiefs, Raiders.
Definitely going Chiefs.
Yeah. I don't like to say definitely
I would love to see the Raiders lead them though.
Because like last year, it was after the Thanksgiving week, we kind of talked about it. It's like, oh, the Chiefs win this one, no doubt. And like the Raiders won like 28-7. All right, Andy, I know you don't like this one. Bears, Commanders.
As long as Jaden McDaniels is healthy, or Jaden Daniels, right?
Jaden. What did you call him?
I said McDaniels. Yeah, my bad.
You're combining.
Yeah, as long as he's healthy, they're definitely winning. I don't try. I'm not picking Caleb. Get out of here.
And I'll say that if Daniels plays, I'm picking Washington. But if he doesn't, I'm picking the Bears.
I know you got to go back. You got to go to the Bears. I would tend to agree.
All right, we got the Cowboys and the Niners.
I think you got to go with the Niners. Oh, you think the Cowboys might?
Micah Parsons is coming back this week, and I think that is the only reason. I think that defense might be able to get to Purdy.
They also have to stop their running game, which they don't have the ability to do that.
That is true. I'm still taking the Cowboys. You taking the Niners?
Yeah, I'm definitely taking the Niners.
Ooh.
The last one?
Ooh. Giants, Steelers.
Yeah. I have the Steelers defense in fantasy. I think they might score about
The
1
Steelers
billion
defense
points.
will win that game enough for you.
Yeah, and they might win it for me too.
As long as I don't play, I don't care.
So, but all right, I guess that's going to do it for this week's episode of Play by Play. It should be a fun week of football. We'll talk more basketball next week as we start
It's a
getting
Halloween
further into the
episode.
season. Yeah, it's the Halloween episode. So
We're gonna do something different this year. We're gonna combine college with NFL teams for candy rankings.
ooh, all right. We'll have to talk about that as the week goes on. So that was it for episode number 123. Special shout out to Archers Tavern. Thank you guys for letting us come out here and do the show before the coaches show. So yeah, that's going to do it for this week's episode of Play by Play. We'll see you guys next week.
Yep.
All right, welcome to this week's episode of Play by Play.